Now, Pro Tools knows, Digitisign knows that these are the three most commonly used tools, and so what they've done, which is really cool, is they've put this little bar underneath the three tools, which is called the Smart tool. And a lot of people use this, 90% of the time in Pro Tools, the Smart tool. If I click this Smart tool, you'll see that all three of those become blue. So all three of those are selected. Now, what happens is when I come down to my session down here, let's take a look at my cursor. You'll see it's changing depending on where I am in the track. Now what happens is if you're in the top half of a track, you got your selector tool. If you're in the bottom half of the track, it's going to become the grabber tool, the hand tool. And in addition, if I go to the end of my region here, it becomes the trim tool. So it's a really, really useful thing. I'm going to go to the start of my region. I got the trim tool here. I can trim it. I'm going to undo that. At the bottom of my region, I got the grabber. I can grab it and move it. I'll undo that. And at the top, I have my selector, and I can, select and start and stop playback and do lots of stuff. So this is a really useful tool. I would recommend turning on that Smart tool and learning in Pro Tools just how to use everything with that tool, because that's the most used. Those are the three most used tools, and you're going to get a lot. You're going to get a lot out of that if you learn how to use that Smart tool. Now we have two more tools, and then we'll be done with this tool section. And these are a little bit more rarely used. But they still are used, and they're useful. If you move on to the right of the grabber tool, you have a little speaker icon here, which is called the scrubber tool. And this is like an old-fashioned tape machine. And this you can use. I don't honestly use this that much, but you could if you want. I actually do sometimes. To do little edits if I'm trying to get out a little click or a pop that's not supposed to be in a track. Now you'll see if I click and drag, it basically plays back the session, and you can hear it sort of slowing down there at the end. I can actually drag, if I click and drag backwards, you'll hear it playing backwards. So if the cool thing about, I guess, the scrubber tool is if I zoom in here, and I click and drag, that might sound like, well, what's the use of that? But if there's a little pop in a track or a little click, and you don't know where it is, and you can't really see it on the waveform, you can use, and I've used this scrubber tool a lot, to find that little blip, and then get rid of it. So that's a useful tool for editing and that kind of thing. And I'm going to get back to our Zoom preset number 1. And finally, at the very end, you have the pencil tool. Now the pencil tool has actually, if you click and drag, or if you click and hold it, you can see there's a lot of different cool, weird little options here. The pencil tool is used primarily for writing automation. Now automation is basically you are if let's say I want my acoustic to turn up by a certain amount, on the second half of the song or whatever, you can automate it so it automatically turns up, and everything in Pro Tools is automatable, which is really, you can get really, really deep if you want to. All plug-in effects parameters, all pans and mutes, and of course volume levels, and everything is automatable. So you can really get your song as perfect as you want it. There's really no excuse for not getting it just how you want it, because the program allows you to do that. You can you can automate EQs, you can automate compressors, you can automate anything. But the pencil tool is basically used to draw in the automation. If you want to draw it in manually with that pencil tool, you can, let's say you want to draw up you want to draw something up in volume. You can do that with the pencil tool. So as you can see, there's a lot of different tools in Pro Tools, and there's a lot of ways you can use them. And as you can see, it's really you can get really deep, and you can get really in control of your audio, which is what we all want. So that's basically the tools, and from there we're gonna move on to some other things. But hopefully you can get a grasp on those, and I'd recommend just practicing with them, just practicing getting around Pro Tools and getting comfortable with the different tools inside of Pro Tools.